she stepped up her level for sure. And I think, the way I won the first set, I wasn't able to win that same way because she started to play more aggressive, go for her shots a little bit more. So I wasn't too disappointed in myself. I just wish I made the adjustment a little bit quicker. Maybe it would have saved a little bit of future gray hairs or something.
Well, listen, you got out in straight sets, which was great. Second week in Australia, semis in the Middle East. If you look at the year so far,
everyone expected frustration. Everyone expected excuses. After one of the toughest losses of her season, fans thought Coco Gauff would disappear, avoid the spotlight, and spend a few days trying to forget what happened. But that's not what she did. Instead, almost immediately, Coco shifted her attention to the next challenge, speaking calmly about improving instead of dwelling on disappointment. And that's exactly why so many people believe she's different. Because this story isn't really about losing. It's about what happened after the loss that says everything about who Coco Gauff is becoming. Pressure has followed Coco ever since she exploded onto the tennis scene as a teenager. Every tournament comes with massive expectations. Every victory makes headlines. And every loss sparks endless debates about what's wrong, what needs to change, and whether she's living up to the hype. That's simply the reality of being one of the biggest names in tennis. But if you've followed Coco's career, you've probably noticed something. She rarely stays down for long. While social media was busy debating her performance, Coco was already looking ahead. Instead of looking back, she talked about learning. She talked about improving. She talked about preparing for the next opportunity, instead of making excuses. That mindset might be one of the biggest reasons she's already accomplished so much at such a young age. The internet reacted exactly the way you'd expect. Some fans questioned her confidence. Others wondered if the pressure had finally caught up with her. Some even started comparing her to other top players, claiming she needed to change her entire approach. But tennis history tells a different story. Every champion loses. Every legend has disappointing tournaments. The difference isn't avoiding losses, it's how you respond to them. And Coco's response has become one of her defining characteristics. Instead of creating drama, she goes back to work. Instead of pointing fingers, she focuses on herself. Instead of chasing excuses, she starts preparing for the next match. That's something people often overlook. At just 21 years old, Coco has already experienced moments that most professional athletes never will. She's won huge matches. She's played on the biggest stages. She's carried enormous expectations from fans around the world. And with that success comes constant pressure. Every time she walks onto a court, millions of people expect greatness. That's a difficult standard for anyone to live up to. Yet she continues showing up. She continues competing. And she continues growing. What's interesting is that some of the biggest improvements in an athlete's career don't happen after victories. They happen after painful defeats. Losses expose weaknesses. Losses force adjustments. Losses create motivation that winning sometimes can't. That's why many fans believe this moment could actually become a turning point rather than a setback. Instead of defining her season, it might strengthen it. Instead of damaging her confidence, it might sharpen her focus. And that's a much different story than the one many people expected immediately after the match ended. Another reason Coco continues earning respect is her professionalism. She doesn't spend time creating controversy. She doesn't attack opponents. She doesn't blame conditions or officials. She accepts the result, learns from it, and moves forward. In today's social media world, where every reaction becomes a headline, that kind of composure stands out. It's one of the reasons brands trust her. It's one of the reasons fans continue supporting her. And it's one of the reasons so many people believe her best tennis is still ahead. The season is far from over. There are still major tournaments waiting, still opportunities to make statements, still chances to remind everyone exactly why she's considered one of the brightest stars in the sport. One loss doesn't erase years of success. One difficult week doesn't define an entire career. If anything, moments like these often become the beginning of a comeback story. and Coco Gauff has already proven more than once that she knows how to bounce back. So while some people see disappointment, others see motivation. While some see a setback, others see the start of another chapter. Only time will tell which side is right. But one thing is certain, people will be watching. And knowing Coco Gauff, she probably wouldn't want it any other way. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments. Do you think this loss is just a bump in the road, or do you think it will make Coco even more dangerous in the next tournament? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. One thing that makes this situation so interesting is how quickly the conversation around a player can change. One week, people are calling you the future of tennis. The next week, they're questioning everything after a single loss. That's the reality of competing at the highest level, and it's something every top athlete eventually faces. For Coco Gauff, this isn't unfamiliar territory. She's been dealing with expectations since she was a teenager, and with every major win, those expectations only continue to grow. Sometimes people forget just how young she still is. She's expected to perform like a veteran, while still learning and evolving with every season. And that's a level of pressure that very few athletes experience. What's even more impressive is the way she handles it publicly. Instead of creating headlines with frustration or blame, she usually keeps the focus on improving her game. That's one of the reasons so many fans continue to support her, even after difficult moments. They're not just watching the results. They're watching the journey. And that's where things become really interesting. Some of the greatest careers in tennis weren't built on perfect seasons. They were built on setbacks, adjustments, and the ability to respond when everyone started doubting them. Every champion has a chapter that looked like a disappointment in the moment, but later became an important turning point. That's why it's dangerous to judge a player's future based on one match. Momentum in tennis changes quickly. One great week can completely change the narrative. One deep tournament run can erase weeks of criticism. And one big victory can remind everyone why that player was considered one of the best in the first place. That's exactly why so many people are paying attention to what Coco does next, rather than what already happened. The response is often more important than the result. Another reason this story has generated so much discussion is because Coco represents more than just another player on tour. For many young fans, she's someone they look up to. She's become one of the faces of the next generation of tennis, and that naturally brings extra attention every time she steps on the court. Every interview gets analyzed, every reaction gets posted online. Every match becomes part of a much bigger conversation. That's both an opportunity and a challenge. Handling that kind of spotlight requires confidence, discipline, and the ability to ignore outside noise. From everything we've seen throughout her career, Coco continues to rely on the same approach. Learn from the loss, get back to work, prepare for the next opportunity. It's a simple mindset, but it's one that many successful athletes have followed for years. And maybe that's the biggest takeaway from this entire story. Winning is exciting. Championships create unforgettable moments. But the habits that lead to those championships are usually built during the difficult weeks, when nobody is celebrating. Those are the moments that reveal character. Those are the moments that test confidence. And those are often the moments that shape what happens next. With another major event on the horizon, the attention isn't going away. If anything, more people will be watching to see how Coco responds. Will this simply become another learning experience? Will it fuel an even stronger performance in the next tournament? Or will this be remembered as the moment that sparked another impressive run? That's the question every tennis fan is waiting to have answered. And if history has taught us anything, it's that counting out great players too early is usually a mistake. That's why this story feels much bigger than one result on the scoreboard. It's about resilience. It's about growth, and it's about the mindset that keeps elite athletes moving forward when everyone else is looking backward.